Okay, so hi everybody, and welcome to another Meet the President. Today we're meeting the president of the AFA, and it's Dave Campbell. Hi, Dave. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to be here. And so, just so people understand what AFA is, it's the American Federation of Astrologers, which has been around since 1938. So we're one of the oldest organizations. It started in Washington, D.C., and then in about 1975, I think, was when we moved to Tempe, Arizona. And they moved it because it was getting pretty rough in Washington, D.C. I know it sounds weird it was kind of scary back then even. They had to have windows barred, and I think people were getting broke into, so they didn't want to be in that area. So they moved to Tempe, and it's been in the same building ever since. So we own the building. It's a 5,000 square foot warehouse because we do offer, we do publishing of books, astrology books as well. So it holds a lot of books and publishing stuff that we have.
So, tell us a few of the names of people involved in the past, back in the 30s and beyond. Who are the people that really molded the AFA?
Uh, Ernie Grant, Ernie, and I'm going to lose my brain, but the Grants. There's him and his wife were the founders, basically, are the mainly involved. But there's a lot of big names, like Manly P. Hall was involved. Gosh, there's just been so many that have been around. I'll think of some as we go, but there's been many throughout the years, and if we were like the one and only organization for a long time. So everybody at the beginning, they were associated with it if they were into astrology. And we first had a science word in our name. It was the Scientific American Federation of Astrologers, and then they dropped the scientific part. Probably, I don't know if it's legal reasons or whatever, but we are still a research-oriented group. We do a lot of research and publicize the research so that we can better ourselves as astrologers and find out what works, what doesn't, what's real, what's fantasy. And just it's fascinating to watch it evolve.
And where do you come in? So, how many years ago, and what attracted you to taking a role in the organization?
I've been a member since like on and off because it's yearly since 1992 because it was the only organization I knew of at the time. And since I moved to Arizona, I was in my backyard basically. So I joined back in the 90s and then became friendly with some of the staff. And then they asked me to join the AFA, so I joined. And then when I opened my bookstore, the president of AFA then helped me get started, helped me pick out books that he thought would sell. And it just went from there. And then I started writing articles for the Today's Astrologer. That's a monthly publication that comes out through membership. And then I wanted to write a book, so I kind of did all the stuff to get ready to write a book and got it published through AFA. And then I think they had an opening for a board member, and they asked me if I would like to be part of that. And since my background is retail management, and I've been on many, many boards as president. I was a HOA, president. So they knew I had the background of management and really thought I could help the organization. And so, yeah, and I've owned store. I mean, I was in retail all my life, but since I was 18 years old, I was in management. And so then I just led to my own store, which has been successful for 25 years. I can't even believe I'm saying I've owned the store 25 years.
Wow.
I opened it in 2000. So, yeah.
Well, I want to ask you more about that in a minute. In terms of what an average week or month looks like as president of the AFA, I mean, you mentioned the publishing. Is there a lot of publishing, or is it distribution? What do you end up doing a lot of the time?
I go there at least once a month. I try to go there more like twice a month, but and I'm in contact with them almost daily, just like following up on management and building supply stuff, and they're running a business. But it is a lot of like editing, publishing, getting authors, reading scripts because I have to approve whether they're going to be published or not. So I have the final say. Um, and I also try to source scripts. It's hard to find writers now. You think there would be a multitude of them, but if you know,
Yeah.
getting articles for magazines is not always easy either. And so I'm begging and pleading, please write me an article. And so there's a lot of that kind of stuff behind the scenes. I write checks, do the management stuff, the kind of the boring behind the scenes stuff, but keeps us going.
And you've been involved with obviously UAC, the various UACs that happen. There's an AFA conference. Does that happen every few years, or does that depend on whatever's going on?
That ended in like 2000, I think it was 2008. Our last one was in Florida. We canceled due to, it was just the downturn of the economy in 2008. And so we canceled it and hadn't had a major one since then. But we've had mini conferences, which were just very hugely successful. We just had one last year on medical. So it's like one track with several speakers. And the two before that, the two different years, 2011 and 14, I think, we had them on Hellenistic, and those sold out. And we have people from Japan and all over the world coming to those. So it was nice to have a sellout, at a mini conference in Tempe, Arizona in July, when it's hot. But that's when hotels are cheap, so we get a better break. Not the
Fantastic.
best to travel, but it's air conditioning. Most people freeze here in the summer anyway because it's so cold. People say it's too cold here. I'm like, go outside for 2 seconds, you'll be fine.
So, what's your involvement going to be with UAC?
Well, I have a weekly meeting with them. We've had for like over a year now. It's 2023, so more than a year. And it's coming along. It's amazing how much work there is behind the scenes. It's just crazy. I mean, even our like an AFA conference is hard enough, but this is like times 20. There's just so many more people involved and working with 4 or 5 other orgs, and we all get along great. So that's awesome. I'm really happy to say that we are a good team and we work well with each other. We like each other, and I think that's part of that's half the battle right there, because it can make or break any organization. And I think we're excited to launch. I mean, because there's so many new astrologers out there, right? Like just since COVID, there's a huge plethora of new people that haven't been to a conference or haven't had a formal study or joined an org even. So this is for all of us. It's going to be a great opportunity to get them back into, and also to ensure that people are learning properly, so that they didn't just read one book and do, their TikTok sensation, and they still don't know what the rising sign is or something like that. And I've seen that. I heard somebody say they were a master astrologer. I interviewed one the other day, and so I asked them what their rising sign was, and they said, "What?" And I'm like, "I said you're a master astrologer." Oh, okay. Next, because I interview people from my store to do readings in my store and things like that. So, okay. I don't like that kind of fraudulent, read one book and now you're suddenly an expert.
It feels that way at the moment, doesn't it? It feels like uh, I was saying earlier in another interview, astrology feels like for some people, sex. It's like every generation feels it's invented it, and
Right.
the new generation has just come along, and they can do the math really easily on the phone. Everything's sorted, and there's so much prep and experience that comes with sitting with it rather than just having instant answers on a phone. So it's an interesting time for
Right.
astrology. So if people were to join the AFA, what do they get? What do they get, and what are they included in?
Okay, it's a yearly membership and it gives you discounts on books, and also you get the monthly great articles. It's today's astrologer. I'm just going to show a little, like the current one looks like now. And it just keeps you abreast of like what everything's going on in the astrology world. And we do give discounts on our conferences when we hold them. And we open up we welcome people to submit articles, and also if you become a professional member of astrology, which means you've passed the test, the professional test. There's two testing. One's advanced, and then the second one's professional level, and so that's equal to like NCGR 4, kind of the similar. And so then we publish you on our website as an advanced astrologer, which is a huge benefit because it covers all the states and even different countries. And I mean, I've gotten tons of calls from just that. From they find me because they want to. People do when they get serious. They want to know who's a professional astrologer, who's had credentials or done something, and so they'll look me up, and then they don't. And they're also more likely to pay a good fee, a proper fee for astrology, because they're not just thinking it's going to be $20, from TikTok or whatever they heard, So I really encourage people to keep growing. And we also do offer education. That's our biggest thing, is education and research. And we really want to educate the public on what real astrology is. And we do cover all branches. I mean, we have books on, Hellenistic. We have all kinds of books. We carry everything, and we do welcome all branches of astrology. So that's the big thing I want to get out there. And Vedic, we have authors that publish Vedic, and so we're real popular in India, so we have a lot of people from India in our membership, and so it's a community, and it builds community, and it makes you feel like you belong, because we all feel like we're odd or weird or the different ones, in society. And so I think belonging to a group is huge. It's just community, and it makes us feel like we're part of something, and we can understand each other, no matter what branch of astrology you're talking.
I think that's important. Now, tell us about your amazing store. I mean, I have to say that you don't really find many astrology stores in the Western world. I don't know about India, I don't know anywhere else, but they're often theosophical places. There are other things, but we've got one in London. We've got the astrology shop in London, and the only one I know of is yours. And tell us where it is, and tell us a bit more about it. It's been 25 years, you said.
Yes, thank you. It's in Glendale, Arizona, which is just a suburb of Phoenix. And gosh, it's the reason I built it and wanted it called the astrology store is because every time I went to a bookstore in their metaphysical section, they had like 3 books on astrology and ephemeris that was outdated, and the same book we always saw before, whatever that was. And so there was never any variety, and I was always so frustrated trying to find more books, and then I would have to ask them to special order them. And so that was Barnes and Noble even back then in the day. And then also, like all metaphysical stores, they didn't even have an astrology section usually, or it was sun sign only. And so I thought, what, I really, really, really want to do my own business and make it astrology centered. And of course, I carry all kinds of metaphysical books like Wicca, Pagan, Psychic, Palmistry. I've sold your book here before, on Palmistry. So, and it's wonderful, by the way. So, I just think that's what I really wanted to create, and I love spreading the word. That's my purpose in life, actually, is to keep astrology alive. And so I wanted it in my personal life, and then now I do it in the community for, AFA, which is a nonprofit organization. So I just want to keep it out there and keep it growing any way I can. And I think UAC is a big part of that too, because it's like huge. We're expecting 1,000 people, or more, hopefully, knock on wood, and everything stays so we can travel. Anything. So
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. So the yes, I mean it's so important to have a physical bookstore these days.
Right. Also, could I say one more thing? We teach classes. That's a big thing. I really had to have my store, no matter what size it was, even if it was real small, I had to have a classroom dedicated. And so as I kept growing, I've had 3 different stores now, and now I finally purchased this one and bought the building. It has 2 huge classrooms. This is what I'm sitting in now with the zodiac background on the wall. And so yeah, it's a big passion of mine is to teach and it also builds that sense of community. I bring other authors and astrologers here. I've had quite a few speakers here, guest speakers that, we get a group together and people come. It gives them a chance to get it out there when they're touring. And especially if somebody's coming to another part like Tucson, I'll have the speaker come also here so that they make better use of their trip so that they can make more money and just gets it to, because we're an hour and a half away from Tucson. So
And what do you like to teach yourself?
I like the basics of astrology. Just I teach all levels. I teach beginning, intermediate, and advanced. I just love watching people grow, and especially people that have never even studied astrology, and then watching them get an A on the test, which is like amazing. Because I've seen people that have studied for years and still have a hard time getting a B or a C, and I think, wow, that's amazing. I can teach somebody that knew nothing. So that tells me I'm a good teacher. If they can get an A. And even now I do some online teaching, like I record it and they can just do it remotely. And I've seen people get A's on those as well, which is really good it tells me that they can understand they don't have to be in person and they started getting it and they didn't know astrology beforehand either. So
Wonderful. Well, what shines forth is your passion, wanting to keep astrology alive, keep people educated, and this is the same story I'm hearing from everybody I'm talking to, which is wonderful because it's. I always say if you want to earn $1 million, I wouldn't go into astrology to do it because there's so many. I mean, apart from that, you probably spend a good $500,000 on books in your lifetime. Um,
exactly.
but it's for so many of us, it feels a true vocation, a sense of really. For some of us, it's teaching. Others, it's bringing the community together. It sounds like you're doing all of those things.
Thank you. And also because my background was retail and it's like, how do I make money with astrology and survive?
Um,
Because you can't just start out the first day and become a professional astrologer and, you have to pay your rent and mortgage and cars and insurance. So this was a good way to bridge the two and so it allowed me to do my readings and have a store and teach classes and keep community. So I helped all things. So I really, and since my background was retail, I knew I could make it work. Even if it was just that succeeded, I knew the readings would succeed and take off and the classes would start to take off. Yeah. I like all aspects of it. I do love it all. I really do.
As a final question, I was wondering about the legalities over there in Arizona, because in different parts of America, astrology or predicting the future, if you want to call it that, has been illegal sometimes. We know that Reagan changed that in California or Sacramento. What's it like over there in Arizona? Are there restrictions? Is it entertainment only? How do you navigate that, if there are any?
There isn't a rule in Arizona over overall, but in city by city there are. So Phoenix has no rules. There's nothing. In Glendale, where I am, it's called a fortune teller license. So anybody that does any type of divination has to get one. And basically what it is trying to keep the charlatans away from saying, you know, I can pray for you and you give me $1,000 and I'll cast a spell. And it's just those kind of scam artists. So it's a FBI background check. And if you pass it, they basically give it to you. And so, but you have to get one in Glendale. Every year you have to renew it. And so at first I was really opposed to it as I hated the word term fortune teller. But I guess that's what we are too. But we don't like the term. And I also kind of felt like it was infringing on my rights as like belief systems. Like, so can you go tell a church they can't, prophecy over somebody because that's divination too, and that's also fortune telling. So, but they didn't like that argument very much, so it went nowhere. But anyway, because I think it works in my favor because it does keep integrity in. So I'm not opposed to it in this case. As long as it's not just to like I know in Mesa it's very they do have this similar license, but they don't want people. So the license is like $400 a year. It's ridiculous. And they're really trying to keep you out and they try to harass you, so because it's a really religious based
Oh,
area, so, and that's the main thing is the religion against it in that city. But I just won't go to Mesa.
well, the irony is how wrapped up religion is with astrology. Uh,
Exactly.
it's the strangest.
Right? Yeah, if they only knew.
Yeah. Anyway, but thank you so much for your time. I look forward to meeting you at UAC in September. And your store is theastrologystore.com.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and is it a sort of 9 to 5, 7 days a week, 6 days a week?
7 days a week, 10 to 6, usually Sundays 11 to 5.
Right.
Yeah. So we're open 24, well, every day.
Wow. Wow. Well, I admire your dedication. I'd love to have a shop. I just know it would just take over my life. But you
Take over
found a
your life.
yeah,
Yeah.
you found a good way for it to work, I think. It sounds great.
Yes, thanks. All right. Well, thank you, Frank.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.